For just a moment, I'm going to take off my mask, but this is a video to give you an insight into what Sunday worship is going to look like. We're going to talk through some of the things that might be a little out of the ordinary when you normally come to worship. But for those that have signed up and those that are looking forward to coming and worshiping, this will give you an idea of what to expect. First, when you come into the parking lot, our goal would be that you would skip every other space, that you provide a little bit of social distancing, certainly on those that are on the same side of the parking side as you are, that you're not right next to each other. We're trying it right from the beginning, from the parking lot, social distancing. Then when you come, you make sure you have a mask. If you don't have a mask, we'll be providing one, but everybody's going to be required to have a mask in worship. The next thing is we'll approach the door, but when we get there, you'll find an elder and he'll check you off the list. Again, sorry, but this is reservation only because we can only have so many people in worship at one time, and we have to account for everybody and keep track of who worshiped when. So that's part of the new procedure going forward, at least for this time. But when you come up there, they'll check you off, and then at least for this first couple Sundays, we're going to be checking temperatures. If you have a temperature that's over 100.4, we're going to ask you to please not join us today, but to go home and to watch us via YouTube and the other means that you might watch worship. If you come with a group, we're going to ask everybody to go with you, just because we know that exposure to one might need something for the other. So please be understanding if that happens, but by all means, if you're ill, don't come to worship on Sunday. Let us know and we'll fill your spot. But let's go forward, shall we? So Vicar is standing in as the elder on duty. Again, the elder will take your name, he'll check you off to see how many you got in your party, that we know who's here, and then he will, that elder will take your temperature. It's non-touchless, it's infrared, so they won't touch your skin. Once you're clear to go, they'll escort you inside or let you go inside. The doors will either be open for you or they'll be held open if the weather is decent, so that you're not touching the door handles. Again, we're trying to eliminate as many touch points as possible. There is hand sanitizer available. We're working on other stations that'll be placed throughout the building, but please know that hand sanitizer is available for your use. There are markings on the floor that would give you a sense of 6 foot, so we keep our social distancing. That follows all the way upstairs. And of course, the night has a nice little message. It's a reminder for all of us. If you're sick, we ask you to stay home and come and join us when you're feeling better. Now, we understand that sometimes many of us like to zip in at the last moment. This weekend and for worship going forward, we're asking you to be a little bit early, that the process of making sure you're on the list, making sure that your temperature is fine, and getting in while keeping social distancing can all be maintained. So just a reminder of that. Even on the stairways as we go up, try to maintain that social distancing, at least your family from another family. And when at all possible, avoid touching the handrails. If you need them, please do. But again, it's all these touch points. Handrails and those touch surfaces will be sanitized, but not after each and every one of us. So we're trying to maintain what we have and want to encourage you in that also. Now, when we enter into the gathering gallery here, this outer gathering area, you're going to find the offering plate, which is where you'll leave your offering for later. Again, no one's going to hand it to you. We're trying to avoid those points of touching. And then we got Vicar standing here again, and he'll serve as the elder, and they'll be handing you a bulletin, a worship folder. Their hands will be sanitized, so they'll be the only ones touching those folders and handing them to you. Try to avoid touching their skin, no skin-to-skin contact. And at the same time, the elder or usher that is here will maintain that social distancing, because you're going to be assigned to a seat because of the number that we have and the need to maintain space within the sanctuary. You'll be assigned to a seat, so they will escort you or show you a chart beforehand, but they'll make sure that you get where you have to go. So if there's a little bit of a backup, please remember again to use the marks on the floor to give you a sense of where that 6 foot is, so that we keep everybody safe and healthy as possible. Now, one of the things that's going to be different, I'm going to pull this off for just a second. One of the things that will be different in our worship space is that hymnals and all the papers in the racks have been taken out. Those have been taken out already. There will be no need for that. Everything that you need will be printed in the worship folder. The other thing will be that all the seat cushions have been removed. So none of the seats have cushions in them, and that's just to aid when everything is done and things have to be wiped down, that we're not having to wipe off cloth and do that sort of thing, but we're dealing just with the wood of the seat. Benches will be marked off so that there'll be a 2-bench space between each group of people sitting, so that when you are placed in your seat, that you understand that there'll be 2 benches between you and the occupied bench in front of you. Again, the spacing and the seat assignments are done so that we might maintain good social distancing. Worship will go as it's intended to. You will be wearing your mask. If you've got one of the cloth masks, sometimes they're a little more difficult to breathe. As somebody said last night when we were in worship for the closing chapel, can I lift it up a little bit? Sometimes you might have to do that to get a good breath of fresh air. We understand that it's going to be difficult to worship this way, but we don't anticipate it going forever. And so in the opportunity that we might join in fellowship and be in worship in God's house, this is what we're asking everybody to do. If you find the cloth ones are a little harder to breathe, and we can get you a disposable over-the-ear surgical type mask, we're certainly happy to do what we can to accommodate that. Again, worship will go on as you normally see it go. When worship is over, when we're dismissing you, we will dismiss you from the back first, and so it'll be the old lectern side will go first. The ushers will usher you out from the back, and that you would maintain again that 6-foot social distance. And then at that time, you certainly, if you haven't already placed your offering in the offering plate, you can share your offering if you're so inclined. I'm trying to think here if I've got anything else that I might have missed, but again, you kind of go back out the way you came, and the doors again will be open so that we avoid those places and points of touching that might aid or cause the transfer of the virus to someone else. I think that is all I have to share with you. We'll end this video, but I encourage you, we're going to have another short video that talks about Holy Communion and what that's going to look like. And so we'll get that put together and watch for that.